Stella is our protagonist. She's very hard-headed, very stubborn, but she has big dreams. She wants to be a writer. She wants to write novels one day, and obviously very tough in the time period that she's in to be able to follow those dreams. But she ends up getting this like surprise inheritance from an old employer of her mother. So she grew up in this very wealthy home because her mom was like on the house staff, and grew up alongside these kids. And when she moved away and moved in with her aunt, they kind of lost contact until we've got Mr. Thomas Fitzroy on his deathbed, and he bequeaths upon her this inheritance, the surprise piece of his fortune. So she now has to kind of figure out, the best way to be able to accept this, and legally the smartest way would be to get married to someone that they can put all this money and property in their name. And that's the last thing she wants to do. She's not really a romantic. She's very just focused on like her own personal goals. And she gets thrust into London society and reunites with Nathaniel Fitzroy, who is like kind of her first best friend and maybe first crush. And it's been a few years. He's all grown up. He's got a bit of a reputation. And they butt heads a lot, but there's a lot of love that a mutual love that they have for each other, but they're both very stubborn. I love that kind of relationship where neither one wants to admit their feelings, even though everyone else knows it's there. So that was a lot of fun. And then we have Stella's cousin, Olivia, who is the complete opposite. She's very much a hopeless romantic, can't wait to get married and have all the children and run her own home. And so the two of them have an interesting relationship. They're best friends. They will always support each other. But Olivia is the one that sometimes has to call Stella out for being, very pessimistic and not having, I guess, enough whimsy in her thoughts. But I love their relationship and seeing how they react to London society and all the adventures that happen there. This book really came from a place of wanting to write something that was a little bit more fun, I guess, than my usual, dark fantasy horror fare. I think I started it like when we were all quarantined during the pandemic, and was it like summer 2020 maybe, around that time. And I was just like, I cannot write anything even remotely dark. I just want to do nothing but watch like Pride and Prejudice all day. And and I also love like the North and South adaptation, love Beverly Jenkins. Like I was like, let me just write something fun for me, and that's really all it was. I was thinking like, what would it be like if the protagonist was a young Black woman? What would she have to deal with? How could I still make it funny and light while not, kind of sanitizing, I guess, the time period in which she would have dealt with. So yeah, I was happy just writing it for myself and like making myself laugh at some of these jokes. And I love Stella's voice and her character and how she stands up for herself. So it was really just fun and comforting. And as I started talking to my critique group and, we exchanged pages, I was like, hey, I had this idea. It's so different from like The Witchery, which was, selling and that was about to happen. I was like, I don't really know about this. And they were like, no, you have to write this, because they had started to read it. They really liked it and encouraged me. So it was kind of a surprise. I did not think that I was going to be writing historical romance. But it's another thing that kind of makes sense, I guess, when I think about what I like to read, what I like to watch. It's just another genre that I enjoy. So I think I was pigeonholing myself as a fantasy writer. And then I was like, well, I don't have to just write fantasy. So Fiona Flippant is this alias that Stella's mother actually took on. And she was writing this very funny advice column where people would, write in and talk about their problems. And so and she was this voice, and people had no idea that this like young Black woman was writing this column. It's something that was a secret. And so Stella, in wanting to be a writer, gets the opportunity to take on this advice column. And she's not really good at it. She has to kind of be in society, and she kind of starts thinking, I need to have these experiences that the readers are having so that I can better answer their questions. But she's very witty. She gets in a little bit of trouble, writing a lot of gossip, and has to kind of deal with Fiona Flippant kind of seeping into her own life as well. But it was really fun to write those fake letters and those fake responses. I just had such a good time making up drama to respond to. I think with historical romance, you always expect there to be some like fantasy in it, like it's a lot, sort of some wish fulfillment, and that's kind of what makes it fun. We definitely take some creative liberties, I feel like, in creating these historical romances. But yeah, it is something, I wrote this book for today's readers. I wrote this book for today's teens, and I thought a lot about, reluctant readers as always. I think now, especially with all the distractions that they have, it can be hard to get them to pick up a book. So I want them to feel like this wasn't an intimidating historical novel. If they saw the cover and thought, oh, this is going to be like old timey, whatever, like, I don't want to read this. I kind of wanted to make this a nice and easy entry point. So there are some kind of modern, themes that kind of slip into the book there. But I think that when thinking of like the teen audience I want to reach, I hope that they enjoy the ride and are able to maybe open up to like a new genre they might not have read before.